Today marks the end of one chapter in the evolution of the Westbard community and the beginning of a new one. It has been, to say the least, a bumpy ride. When the plan was first presented to the council from the planning board, I knew we had serious work to do. It was too much, way too much. We needed a plan that would allow Westbard to grow more organically. We needed a plan where we had confidence that our schools could absorb the children, that our roads could handle the traffic, and that adjacent residential neighborhoods would have buildings next to them that were appropriately sized. We needed a plan that honored Westbard's suburban character. And yet the goals of the plan were and remain valid and important. To allow Westbard to have a more vibrant neighborhood shopping center, to create more enlivened streetscapes, to become more environmentally desirable with trees, grass, small parks, and the daylighting and restoration of Willett Branch, to have a civic center for meetings and perhaps a senior center, and to make an important contribution to a serious issue in our county, the lack of affordable housing. The question before us was whether we could achieve these laudable goals and at the same time significantly downsize the plan. And I believe we have done just that. At the invitation of my colleagues, I proposed an alternative path that cut the number of residential units by an unprecedented 50%, cut the size of the shopping center by 40%, and reduced the size and mass of buildings adjacent to single-family homes by 66%. Those are just some of the important differences in the plan we are voting on today from the plan that was presented to us. And none of those changes sacrifice the important and valid goals of this plan. I proposed those changes after consulting with PTA leaders and respected community leaders that we have worked with for many, many years. I listened to our community leaders and myriad residents, as I know my colleagues have as well. But clearly, many of my constituents do not feel as though they were heard or that their wishes for their community honored. I deeply regret that. So what are we to make of those strong feelings by those whose neighborhoods surround Westbard? I think the answer is in part that planning for the future is a hard job, particularly in places where the present, for the most part, is quite nice for surrounding neighborhoods. It is even more complicated when the area is not urban, doesn't seek to become urban, and is not immediately adjacent to the metro. And yet, it is so very close to our urban centers. These factors and the absence of willing investors contributed to the fact that the master plan we are modifying is the oldest in the county. Everyone knew it would be hard. Indeed, the Save Westbard proponents demand that we allow nothing more than what was approved more than 30 years ago. That, to me, is not looking at the future, but looking in the rearview mirror. The future that the plan before us envisions is a better future, a more enlivened, greener, diverse, and prosperous future. And in my opinion, that is a future to be embraced, not feared. The core of Westbard's commercial center character today is primarily defined by asphalt, gas stations, tall buildings, and a rundown shopping center. It is unattractive, barren of trees or almost anything green. We can do so much better, and the community deserves better. And I, for one, reject the notion that by adding several tall buildings where there are already tall buildings of equal or greater height transforms this community from suburban to urban. And it is important to recognize that these taller buildings offer us our best opportunity to appropriately address one of the county's biggest moral imperatives, the need for more affordable housing. These buildings will be attractive mixed-income communities, creating diversity that is a strength. By virtue of the plan before us, Westbard will be making a very positive contribution to the serious issue of housing affordability, which heretofore it has not. Many residents have expressed concerns about school capacity, particularly in light of their experience with Wood Acres Elementary, a school that needed portables the day it was reopened. Yet this plan represents perhaps the best plan yet in addressing those legitimate concerns. We engaged the school system and the PTA community extensively. We analyzed the numbers. We adopted school generation rates that are much higher than we actually think will occur in order to be even more conservative. and PTA leaders, the school system, and our professional staff are in agreement that we can indeed move forward with confidence, particularly given the additions that are in our proposed capital improvements program for Pyle and Whitman. Some of our residents have said that we are consciously sacrificing the welfare of their community in order to curry favor with the developers. There are those who have even accused the Citizens Coordinating Committee of that in response to their endorsement of my alternative. For those of us who have worked with the Citizens Coordinating Committee for the past decade and beyond, that accusation is hard to comprehend. It does not seem to matter to those critics that the facts say the opposite. The facts say we reduced Equity One Shopping Center by 40%, that we reduced the scope of their redevelopment on the Manor Care site by 66% and the Heights by more than 50%. And we added to the list of what we expect of them exactions that include an expensive realignment of Westbard Avenue, dedicating lane to reclaim and restore Willett Branch, providing a shuttle service to Metro, providing parklands and a civic center, and an increase in affordable units from 12.5% to 15%. The facts do not in any way support the unsubstantiated rhetoric. I would instead characterize our relationship with the developers this way. Our only mutual interest is their willingness to invest in our community and our desire to allow for revitalization in this portion of our community. So what are we to make of the voices that say no? In Montgomery County, we do not conduct planning by plebiscite. We allow our professional planners and the planning board to make their recommendations after engaging the community. We then engage and work with the community leaders that we have come to trust over many years. We listen to our own professional staff, and we then make the judgments we were elected to make. And every 4 years, our residents get to pass their own judgment on our work on their behalf. My vote today in favor of this plan is a vote on behalf of the community and the future of our county and nothing else. It is a vote for a better, more enlivened, more diverse, greener, revitalized community. I have certainly gotten the message that this vote may cost me politically. However, part of the reason why people have lost faith in their elected leaders is because they see them constantly trying to see which way the political winds are blowing rather than standing by their convictions. I'm going to stand by my conviction that we are doing the right thing by approving this master plan.
I need a motion to approve the resolution.
Madam President, I move for approval.
Moved by Councilmember Katz, seconded by Councilmember Reamer. All in favor? Please raise your hands. It's unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone.